Hello, my makeup loving friends. Believe it or not, we managed to get through 2022. Yay! I mean, surviving the year was on my to do list, so yay, scratch that one off. Some of us coped with it pretty well. Some of us coped with it through a combination of Maltesers, crisps, and compulsive buying.
I feel a bit called out by that.
I mean, that was me. It's just talking about me. But there's so many releases, and we managed to pare them down in releases and rants. And you guys voted on all of the releases through the year on my Instagram stories. So I decided I would compile the best and the worst of the releases this year, according to you guys. This is not my opinion, this is statistical fact.
So you won't get in trouble for these opinions.
No. This is what the people voted. It is as it is decreed by the people. In case you don't know, the lovely person who is next to me, don't worry, she's a very unknown entity. It is Missa of Makemeupmissa. That's right. She has deigned to grace me with her presence. So we've decided we're going to do this together, but I kind of put it to you guys first to see what you guys thought. I put it into my Patreon group first, see what you thought some of the best and the worst things might actually be, and I put it onto my YouTube community tab, and a few of you guys had some thoughts. But let's get into it. In terms of the worst, I'm going in I suppose descending order, with the least worst to the ultimate worst. So drop your comments down below as to what you think the worst one is actually going to be according to your votes, and what you think the best one is according to votes. But the first thing is Jefferson Starship. Back in May, he released the Banana Fetish collection. This is, by the way, still available. There's a palette, there's lip scrubs, mascaras, lip masks, moisturizers, body scrubs, etc. When I put it to you guys, 9% of you loved it. So it did not do well.
I've seen that palette in person, and it was worse in person.
Wow.
And when does that ever happen?
I mean, when you go on a date with me, you're like, oh, you are so much worse in person. Fair.
Well, you bagged a husband, though.
I tricked
2022.
I tricked him. It's fine.
Well done.
I know. But this was just bad in every possible sense. The palette made no fucking sense. He got rid of his OTT packaging, which he was like, I'm not getting rid of this because I'm giving my customers an experience. And then he went on that, and then the colours had nothing really to, I don't know about you, I've never come across a pink and a blue banana. Not in a healthy way, anyways. That's usually a trip to the emergency room. But I've never come across that. And then his weird fetishization and sexualization of particular groups in his ad campaign was really weird. Yeah.
It was like I saw the ad campaign.
Yours well.
He doesn't exist to me anymore.
Yeah.
The brand. I don't even think about it.
Yours well. I mean, you could visit him in his Wyoming store now, which has his makeup, skincare, and of course yak meat and plushies available.
Oh, well, we could. We wanted to.
That was one of the highlights of 2022. Yeah, it's just really interesting to see how much his brand fell in a really short amount of time. That's right, Jefferson Starship is up again. The next release he came up with in August was his Star Wedding palette, and it's still available now for $62. And when I put it to you guys, 8% of you loved it. And by the way, I couldn't find any fucking swatches of it online, and it is so...
I love this deep colour and this pink. I love those two colours.
So you about 8% of the palette.
I'm bad at maths, but I feel like that might be less than 8%.
2 out of 25, so 8%.
How are you so good at maths?
Tis the tism.
I got
life skills. But
I got put in a class that we went on field trips and did fun stuff instead of maths because I was that bad at it. So
I loved maths. I was like, this is the same no matter what country I'm in. I find this very comforting.
Okay, well.
It made sense to me. But yeah, this palette was I mean,
it's offensively bad.
I can see it being used for bridal, but then at the same time, I'm because he also said the cremated could have been used for bridal. So then I felt like he was clutching at straws at this point.
It's even the layout it just looks cheap. It looks cheap.
Yeah.
Uh, and his stuff looks cheap now, whereas before it looked like we were clamoring. Do you remember? We used to sit in the WhatsApp groups, all of us, like we're on the website, we're refreshing it, we've got like 8 tabs open, so excited to get his stuff.
Remember the excitement over the Bloodlust, that purple palette?
Right.
And
And
now
we don't message each other, like thousands of messages, like, we got it, we got. Now it's just like, I don't even think about it.
no.
It's weird. But
I'm just saying, like, there are brands that are falling out of favor, and we'll see it a lot in this episode as to the brands that would have previously been popular are now kind of like not doing so well. Speaking of, the next thing that you guys really did not like was the Anastasia Beverly Hills Glam to Go mini eyeshadow palette. They came out with this in October. It is still available. It's for €35, but they do say on their site that 3 of the shades out of that 8-pan palette are not for use near the eyes, and those shades are Dusk, Rosy and Sunset. So I love that it's actually called a mini eyeshadow palette, but like 37.5% of it cannot be used on your eyes.
that's what I was going to say. 37.5%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, Anastasia Beverly, they used to be so cool. Like, cool. And I still love some of their stuff. Like the liquid liner, bomb. The lipstick, bomb. Their palettes are so boring.
Yeah. They haven't done, like, if it wasn't for Norvina, there'd be nothing interesting in terms of eyeshadow palettes coming out. And like, if you look at this palette, it's all along a one line of tones. There's nothing light or deep to blend stuff out. This is tragic.
It makes me feel quite sad.
Like, it's so bad. I don't get it. Like, €35 for that.
And the
And all
shimmers look so flat.
Yeah, all your looks would look the same. It reminds me a bit of like the Urban Decay Naked Heat.
I think the Naked Heat's better than this.
Yeah, but it's giving me the same sort of like, oh, no matter what I do, every single look is going to end up looking the same.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. It's fucking shocking. So,
do you know anyone in your life that bought this?
No.
Same. No one.
But isn't it funny? Like 3 years ago, ABH was the tits. Everyone loved it. And now it's bombed. We're heading right into the hip dot. They decided they would assail us with icons over several different occasions. The first time was back in September. They did a collaboration with Hello Kitty and they had 6 icons, which all looked frighteningly similar to each other. There was like maybe 2 or 3 that looked somewhat different. They were $12 each, or you could get the bundle of 6 for $56, you know.
Oof.
There are other bundles available, and I don't think you'll be that surprised to know that they are still available. They didn't sell out.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
They're so good.
I know. I love the idea of using these, and obviously you'd have to use them. Like, how would you pick it up? Like, so you'd eventually just end up with a decapitated Hello Kitty, or you'd start with the legs because you're really sadistic. You don't want it to go quickly.
The one in the corner, like the purple one with the pointy ears, you could really get under your eye with that one though.
For about 3 uses, and then that's it.
Yeah. I mean, it's just landfill, isn't it? It's literally plastic landfill.
The thing is, like, if they had just done this once, I'd have been annoyed about it, but I'd have been like, okay, it was a once off. But the fact that they did this a total of 4 times, we're only talking about 3.
4?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
How many did they make? Like, our planet's resources are running out. I say that as I have an elf bar, but that's because my vape broke.
It's all right. Elon is going to fly us all off to Mars. We're going to be grand, lads. Please read, that is sarcasm. I cannot stand Elon Musk at all. Yeah, it was fucking tragic, and it really pissed me off. And then within a couple of months, I think it was about 5 weeks, they had another icon release. This was their SpongeBob collaboration. There were 3 shades, each annoyingly neutral. None of them really linked in with the cartoon. They were again $12 each, but you get the trio for $30. And that's right, lads, they're all still available. And you guys, 8% of you loved it, believe it or not.
What's that percentage?
what, 8% of people
No.
loving it?
Teresa, edit that!
Never. It stays. These were terrible. Absolutely dreadful. And they came out like a couple of weeks after the previous one. So you'd think they didn't even wait for feedback and just went straight into like, we'll do more of these awful bullshit things, which
You see, if they made like SpongeBob sponges, that would be cool.
yeah,
Like shapy sponges, but
literally
don't know
anything else would have been better.
anyone that would buy this.
No, I'm actually surprised we even had 8% loving it.
Same.
This is not the lowest thing, lads. This is not the worst rated thing.
Surprise.
Yeah. The next thing we're discussing is Orion Beauty, which was established by Ariana Grande back in 2021, but her second big release was back in March, and she came out with some new palettes which coincided with her album that was released at the time. And there were 3 of them in all. There was Smitten Kitten, Go-Go Boots, and Groovy Baby. They were €29 each. They are still available, and 7% of you loved it. And there was something about this that made it feel like it was straight out of like an Avon brochure.
If Ariana Grande can't sell something, then you know it's shit. And also, conspiracy theory, someone left a comment on my video and said Morphe sunk so much money into this, and that's a big reason why they're having to go into bankruptcy, because imagine how much they spent on this.
Wouldn't be surprised. I think that would have been not the total reason around Morphe, but definitely a major contributor.
Could be.
Because I never hear anyone talking about anything to do with Orion Beauty.
I don't even hear Matty talk about them.
Yeah, and he loves a bit of Riri.
Oh, well.
Oh no, yeah, Riri, yeah, Ariana. Oh, yeah, fuck it.
Like, we've both made a big mistake this episode. That was yours.
I mean, to be fair, we haven't made such big mistakes that we've made fucking icon eyeshadows.
Imagine spending £29 on that.
Do you know, it reminds me of XX Revolution did these sort of palettes that had a very similar sort of a layout to it. It looks like that. This looks cheap, it looks tacky, it looks naughties, and in a very, very bad way.
Not a good way.
It's dreadful. Like, there's literally nothing good to say about it. Like, if you look at the swatches, they're like obviously computer generated.
And the mint one, it's all shimmers, bar the like mint matte.
Yeah.
What kind of look are you doing with that?
No thought or logic has gone into this. We're aware of that.
What was the percentage on that? 7%. I'm surprised.
Yeah. 7%. It was fucking tragic. On to our next one. This was another 7% love, and honestly, who the fuck clicked? I love it. This was Nails Inc., who collaborated with Velveeta, the cheese. It's an American cheese. We don't have it here in Ireland. And this was their Pinkies Out Polish Creamy Smooth Cheese Scented Nail Polish Duo. It was released in June. It was $15, and incredibly, it wasn't in stock. It actually sold out. On the site, it says it's cheese scented, and yet it's 100% vegan and cruelty free. So, like, vegans of the world, do you want things to smell like cheese?
I hate primary colours, so this really upsets me on that level. And imagine, like, you were kissing someone and you touched their thing, their face, and then they were like, and your nails smell like cheese.
Like gross processed cheese.
Yeah, I'm not sure that would be a good aphrodisiac for someone.
Like, I'm just interested in who came up with this idea and went, cheesy fingers, they're in.
You would just sit all day.
Yeah. I cannot get over that it actually sold out.
It's a new meaning to smell my fingers.
Yeah. Yeah. Hip Dot continued with their shit launches. This was their fucking cup noodles collaboration back in May. They had this limited edition collector's box for $58, and that actually sold out. The collector's box included the palette kind of lip and cheek set, but it also included chopsticks and a powder puff and a makeup bag. Yeah, the only thing that's actually available now on their site is that lip and cheek set. Everything else sold out.
I mean, the lip and cheek set is probably the best thing out of that.
Yeah. By the way, 6% of you loved it. I am actually genuinely confused at this point as to how Hip Dot is actually a company that's surviving. Because, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I was going to say, I've got a couple of their palettes, but they're very, like, nice palettes. They're just palettes. They're not, like, weird themed. And they're pretty nice.
I mean, Hip Dot were really consistent this year in terms of their shitty releases. Urban Decay, they came out with 3 mini palettes and they were like, naked is such a thing and it's clearly never going to die or a bad trend. Back in May, they were like, fuck it, let us flog this dead horse. Like at this point, there's no longer a carcass left of this horse. They are just taking the bones and flinging them onto the road. And they had the audacity to come out with these 3 particular palettes. There was Sin, Half Baked, which was their idea, and Foxy. And unsurprisingly, they are still available, and 6% of you loved them.
These were such a wank without a cum because the packaging was cool. And when I just saw the packaging, I thought, oh, they're going to be nah.
Yeah.
Nah.
And they had cool, edgy models, like all of the graphics around the advertising looked really interesting, but like
so bad. I'm so over it with Urban Decay now.
I can't see myself ever buying anything from them again. And I loved their stuff. Oh, camera manning again.
He does like
this now.
Sorry. This is a professional shoot.
He's like, I care not for your profession.
Yeah. I can see why 6% of people like them. I'll say that. But
I wouldn't pay $29 though.
Shut up.
An eyeshadow palette.
$9.99 is what they should have been at most.
100%. Because this was so close to just being the general price of their bigger shit palettes.
No.
Yeah.
Even $19.99 I'd understand more. I do like that there's a shade called Buck Off.
This is November's release from Hip Dot. That's right. They had 2 icon releases in November. It was 1 week after the other. So after they assailed our eyes with the SpongeBob, they were like, here's another one. This was their Sesame Street one. They had 4 shades, $12 each, $38 for the bundle. And unsurprisingly, they are still available on their website. 6% of you loved it.
Teresa, those swatches are genuinely, they make my depression worse.
And do you know what's awful? These are all grabs or screen grabs that I have taken from the product's own site. These aren't like from Instagram or anything. These are, I've gone on to the brand's page, and this is what they're using to sell the product or attempt to sell the product.
Is that chicken yellow down at the bottom there?
Yes, the much beloved Sesame Street character Chicken Yellow. It's like a fish version.
I really would buy that for Tia.
Yeah.
As a joke. Make her keep it in the box and put it on her shelf.
Oh no, I'm planning on getting her, like, I'm going to see if I can get like a made t-shirt that just has Big Bird on it and says underneath Chicken Yellow.
You could do that. That would be nice.
Like, I would
People would think it was like a knockoff t-shirt.
This is going to be my new brand. This is going to be my side hustle. I'm going to start an Etsy store, and there's going to be Chicken Yellow t-shirts if anybody wants them. Yeah,
I'd buy it.
We'll make it happen. This was fucking awful. About a month later, then they came out with more Sesame Street nonsense. This time had 3 palettes and lashes. 6% of you loved it again. The collector's box was $68. Each of the palettes were $18 and the lashes were $8. Now, if you add all of that up, that's $62. So that means that you are paying an extra $6 for the privilege of having that collector's box. Nobody was stupid enough to buy that for their loved ones for Christmas.
The blue one isn't that bad. That's Cookie Monster, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't ever touch it. I'm just saying, out of them, it's not the worst.
So, like, if you were forced, like, choose a palette or die.
Yeah.
It's the blue.
Yeah, it'd be the blue one. Yeah.
It's one of the worst blue shadows I've seen.
Oh, I mean, I would, yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to see the good in things, Teresa.
No, come over to the dark side and be angry and unhappy about everything. It's terrible. I didn't get it, and I felt very annoyed that they took out Oscar the Grouch and put in Snuffleupagus.
I don't know what you're talking about, but yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I never watched Sesame Street growing up.
It was on RTE, but it wasn't my thing. Mine was Bosco, which was only in Ireland, and it was a red-headed puppet who lived in a box. And every week he went through a magical door that always brought him to Dublin Zoo because RTE had a really bad budget. So that was my childhood.
It's lovely.
Yeah.
Mine was El Nombre and the Queen's Nose.
Oh, I loved the Queen's Nose. That was good. I enjoyed that. Yeah, they were really going for nostalgia on this one, and it was a swing and a miss, really. Like, I mean, Hip Dot really did kill it, but not in a good way this year. The fact that we had 4 separate entries in the worst category.
Yeah, they've dominated.
I think they're going home with the crown.
Really. What's it called in Hollywood? The Razzles? Yeah. Or the Razzies?
The Razzies.
Hip Dot gets that.
Woo!
Well done.
Yeah,
well done,
congratulations. All that hard work, it really paid off. The next thing that you guys voted for was the Morphe Valentine's Day palette. It was their 9Y Heart Candy Artistry palette. It was $12. They released it for Valentine's Day and it launched in January. 5% of you loved it. Now, because it was one of those limited edition things, it's no longer actually available. But I know that towards the end it was on sale for $4.50.
It's a palette.
The same as every other pink tone palette they've ever come out with. They saturated the market. They shot themselves in the foot by coming out with way too many palettes, one after the other.
That's just a release for the sake of releasing something, innit?
It really was.
Not special. It's not well thought out.
No. And again, they're doing their computer-generated swatches as well, which I don't trust Morphe's swatches at this point. I will say Morphe might get the prize for most consistent because the next thing that you voted in terms of the worst was their holiday collection. Again, 5% of you loved it, so exactly the same with their Valentine's Day. A lot of it sold out, so their 35 pound palette sold out, the Champagne Glow sold out. However, the Cabernet Blush, the pinky toned palette, that's still available. The brush set, still available. Those 4 styles of faux mink lashes, still available. And their lip plumping serum that doesn't seem to do anything to the lips except give it a little bit of a gloss, that's still available.
I think that palette's back in stock.
It wasn't when I was looking at it, but to be fair, they've kind of done several different versions of these, so they might have just put it in slightly...
It might be a completely different palette that I'm thinking of, to be honest, because it's Morphe, they all look the same. Apart from the new violet one that I like, and no, I won't be taking any questions.
That's fair. I just felt it needed to be more lavender.
Well, I like the brush set that they did. I always like the brush sets, always.
Yeah, I find them to be a little bit of a hit or miss for me. I prefer buying their individual brushes. I find they're better quality. But I mean, it was just boring. It was
it is boring.
Basic. Like I said, Morphe are consistent. The next thing that you talked about was the Morphe Abby Roberts collaboration. So Abby Roberts is an artist and they came out with their Art Cast cake liner palette, the artistry palette, the 5-piece like brush and kind of detail palette set. There was like a 7-piece essential brush and tubby set. They are still available. 5% of you loved it, so it did not go down well. And I will say I was on Morphe the other night, like looking this up, and they're all half price now.
Yeah, Danielle was saying that to me today, that the palette's half price.
Yeah.
And it's not, I don't think, looking at the swatches, I think it's all right. But I'm not even going to buy it at half price, because I'm just like...
It's too similar to a lot of what they've done. You know, their Disney Mickey Mouse palette is very similar to this.
Yeah, and I've got that, so...
Massive overlap. This is the problem if you are like a fast beauty brand. You do have a ticking clock on your company.
Yeah.
Because there's only so many releases that you can do before you've quote-unquote done it all.
And I don't trust their cake liner formula.
No, I wouldn't either. I like the liner brush set. I think that was interesting. But I mean, it was, again, a swing and a miss. And I always feel bad when it's a collaboration that doesn't go well, because, you know, obviously that person cares about it and they worked hard or whatever. But like, you could really see as things were progressing through the year, people were getting more and more miffed with Morphe. Like, it was consistent, like 5%, 5%, 5%. Like,
yeah.
It was consistent.
That's lower than some of the Hip Dot.
Yep. I think that says quite a bit. The next atrocity that we were foisted upon was the Wild Wet mini palette by Urban Decay. That was launched in June. It was $27 and it
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was. It still is. Checked it. 4% of you loved it. And I know people who bought the original Wild West palette, and the formula on that was horrific. It didn't last well. It like would apply okay initially, but it had no staying power.
Urban Decay palettes used to get us in a frenzy.
Yes.
A frenzy. I got one of the Vice palettes for my Christmas one year, like 8 years ago, and I remember crying with excitement when I opened it, because I'd always wanted one of these. I would cry now if I got that.
Yeah, but not in the same way. I used to collect Urban Decay. Like, I used to collect their eyeshadow palettes, because if you don't know me, I do collect shit that I shouldn't do. But I even still have them for nostalgia purposes, just opposite me in an IKEA drawer. They're probably all gone off, but whatever. I am a pack rat and a hoarder. My problem is I attribute emotional feelings to objects, and then I feel that the objects are going to feel bad that I'm getting rid of them. So that's the way my brain works. So deal with it. But this is dreadful. And I love that of their releases this year, the ones that fared so badly were then just kind of going, we have no new ideas, let's re-release shit that we've done before, but just smaller.
I am so offended at $27.
Oh God, yeah. It's horrendously bad. Like, it's $4.50 per shade. Like, who is paying, like, and it's not even their nice, like, moon dust formula. If it was like a moon dust formula palette, then I'd be like, $27?
Oh yeah, 100%. And why have they done it in 2 rows and not like the other palettes that they do sideways?
To enrage me.
It's very upsetting, I have to say.
Yeah,
I've forgotten about so much of this makeup.
That's why it got 4%. Is all I can say. And now we're moving on to something very bougie. This is Hermes and their Plein Air Complexion Balm. This was released in March. It comes in 12 shades and it's €77 for 40 millilitres. And they say there's like sunscreen, SPF, all these particular things in it. 4% of you loved it. It was just so expensive for what is essentially like a skin tint. It wasn't meant to be very high coverage. It was just like a balm.
So that's why they kind of go away with 12 shades then, right?
Yeah, and even the dark shade isn't like super, super dark. But at least like the model kind of, it seems to work on them. But it's €77. Can you imagine charging €77 for that? Like,
does it come with a free Birkin or?
I want to. Like, and I was
or at least a nice scarf or something.
Can I just say though, the packaging reminds me massively of the Barry M liquid blushes. Doesn't it though?
It does.
Yes. So like you're paying €77 for this like high end product, which is essentially in the same sort of packaging as drugstore.
On the one hand, you can cut it open and get all your product out. On the other hand, for Hermes, I would think like a glass bottle with like gold details on it.
Well, yeah,
Uh,
but also just in terms of sustainability, you'd think that they do that.
yeah.
It's dreadful. Absolutely dreadful.
4%. Wow.
Yeah. This next one was tragic. We really started off the year with a bang of 2022. This was released in January and it was Soul Mama, which is like an Asian skincare sort of brand. And they collaborated with Oscar Mayer to have a bologna hydrogel sheet face mask for $5. It was on Amazon and it actually sold out. And I love that when I went to Amazon to check it out and find all the information on it, when you go down, it had all of these terrible like things in it. Treat yourself, meet yourself, or better yet, give the gift of bologna bliss to others. Nothing says I love you like a slice of self-care. This feels like skincare straight from the mind of Sahil.
You can't spell delightful without deli.
Oh, that was, yeah, literally, by the way, this is what they said on Amazon under this. And there's so much of this that reminds me of, that character from the Silence of the Lambs who had like his face eaten off.
Hannibal Lecter.
Well, yeah, but like there was a guy. Anyways, it looks like that. It looks like it's a skin mask. It's terrifying.
Yeah.
And really,
what is Bologna? That's not how you pronounce it.
Yeah, it was the fucking weirdest. And I love that they said, like again in the description is part of what's getting me. Collagens lock in moisture and promote skin elasticity. Bologna design induces unparalleled serotonin surges. No, it doesn't. Show me the fucking data. That does not sound correct. And a prolific amount of selfies. No, I would not take a picture of myself with that. I would die.
This mask scientifically gives you serotonin.
I could fucking do with that. Do you know what? If it actually did it, I would buy them all.
Body.
Yeah, I'd be a big hammy mess. Like, just I think the description is part of what gave me joy on it was, our bologna has a nickname and it's Beauty. That's beauty, by the way. No, this sheet mask is not real bologna. Put it on your face, not your sandwich.
Do you know what? I love their optimism in the description.
Yeah.
I love it.
They entered 2022 with a lot of optimism. I will give them that.
But you probably get just as much joy putting ham on your face.
And the cats would love it.
Oh, Potato would go bonkers.
Yeah. Darcy would just be like, I love you so much. I eat your face now. Inexplicably, 4% of you loved it. So we're getting down to the stuff that you really fucking hated at this point. Then the next thing is, I think we were really this year fucking hating the rich because we really didn't like this thing from Gucci. It was their limited edition Flora collection. It was released in conjunction with their Flora perfumes, and that was back in August. They came out with this eyeshadow palette for £145. It is still available, and they came out with a lipstick in the shade 208, and that retailed for £36, but it's no longer available because that was the more affordable thing out of the two. But 4% of you loved it, and for that price it looks cheap, it looks tacky, and I couldn't find like any pictures of swatches on their website, but I saw some like YouTube videos and they were fucking trashing it. It was terrible pigment.
It looks like Stila or Bare Minerals.
Had a really trashy baby.
Which would be like $30. The only reason I like it is because my sister's middle name is Flora. So I feel like a connection to it.
I mean...
And that's tenuous.
That's very tenuous. Very tenuous. Yeah, I think they were like banking on the success of the movie of the House of Gucci, and they were like, maybe this is putting people's like Gucci as being like an everyone brand, and everyone wants to have this. Maybe that's what they were going for.
And
But
you are the person that buys expensive palettes. Like, you will buy
yeah,
a very expensive palette.
I have a Deness and Merrick's right next to me.
Yeah, like, you'll do it. You'll bite the bullet.
Yeah.
But I can't even say look at that blue because it doesn't inspire me.
No, it's shit.
It does make me feel a bit sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very lackluster. Like,
Yeah.
it's very pound store. Then the next thing, we saw so many celebrities launching their own brand. And in September, Brad Pitt launched his skincare line called Le Domaine. And on their website, they say, Le Domaine is a shared perspective towards living with a greater sense of mindfulness, going back to the essence of things. It is built on values that come from the earth. It is about imitating nature's organic cycles. It's original beauty. What fucking wank. That's, that pretentious dickhead at a party that's like, Nietzsche and Kafka all had their own ideas about No, shut up.
It's just words, isn't it? It's just words.
4% of you loved it, by the way. They came out with 3 items. There was the cleansing emulsion, which was the most affordable thing. They claimed it had this thing called GSM-10, which was their exclusive patented active compound that claims to slow down the signs of skin aging. And you get 100 mils for that for €70. Obviously, still available because, economic crisis and all of that. Then the next most affordable thing is the cream. That's what they called it, the cream. And that then had the GSM-10 and Pro GR3. Again, that claimed to slow down the signs of aging. Presumably a fucking moisturizer. 1.7 fluid ounces, so that's 50 mils for €220. Unsurprisingly, still actually available. And the last thing that they came out with was the serum. That's what it's put down as, the serum. And again, it had those ridiculous compounds that they've made up. And you get 30 mils for €320. But if you really want to make some savings, you can get the complete routine on their website with all of the products for €550 instead of 610 because it's on sale right now. Run quickly!
Wow.
What man is going to spend that amount of money on skincare? Most men, if they do anything to their face, is they take a bar of soap and run it across their face with reckless abandon.
I just like how this is for men with big wooden tops on it. Men like wood.
We carve wood ourselves. And they're like, let's make sure it's like really masculine. We'll make sure that there's like that, the colour black has to be in there. And let's get rid of the pretentious nonsense. We'll just call it the serum. It just looks like, the tops of each of them looks like really weird cheese boards. Like, your cousin is doing woodwork in secondary school and he's given a go at making a cheese board and he's given that as a gift. And you're like, that's nice, Gary. How the fuck are we going to put anything on this? This is wonky. That's what it looks like to me.
I mean, I don't really like Brad Pitt now anyway. So.
Oh, bad man.
Yeah. From what I've read, don't think he's a nice guy.
Yeah, same.
So I'm not gonna give him my €550. I was gonna buy it. Now I'm not. So
I mean,
you know what I mean? So
sure he will cry himself to sleep at night over that.
Exactly.
Then the next thing that you guys decided was the worst was this collaboration between Fenty and the art collective MSCHF back in August. It was their ketchup versus makeup. You could essentially buy this $25 box and there were 6 packets which contained either ketchup or lip gloss, and you weren't guaranteed to get lip gloss. You could have just gotten 6 packets of fucking ketchup. And to me, this was done in really, I don't know about you, but for me, this was just bad taste. And it kind of showed how much Rihanna is out of touch with people. And I know she was like, oh, it's like an artistic thing and it's with this art collective. But if you are charging that amount of money for like a potential food item when there are people who are going to food banks, and you're charging $25 for these like little sachets. It's greedy and weird. I feel like Fenty is
I feel like we should eat the rich, Teresa.
I'm getting increasingly angry, if I'm 100% honest. Like, you know, I'm just like, Arr. And I feel like 2023 is gonna see, like we've already seen it anyway, that Fenty has gone down in terms of the way that they are being appraised. Like last year, you couldn't get any of their Christmas sets for love nor money. And after Christmas, a lot of their sets were still available in Boots.
I've not been excited by them in a while.
No.
So.
No. They've kind of pissed me off. And just the idea of like ketchup and pink lip gloss and like how would you store them? And it's a sensory ick for me in so many ways. I hated it very, very much. 4% of you went for love it. Then this next one, this was Base Blue Cosmetics, and this was their Girl with a Pearl earring palette, and that was released in December of 2021, but it like properly was available from January 2022. That's when people essentially got their paws on it. You could get the palette alone for $53, but you could get the palette along with like a wall decor poster print with the frame for $60. You look at it and you're like, okay, I couldn't find swatches. That's worrying. And when you go onto their website, you see that a big chunk of it is actually overspray. So
I understand that. What's overspray? Like, is it
just the very top bit has a colour in it, but if you like slightly chipped at it,
yeah,
it can be there underneath it.
So what would be underneath it?
A blonde colour.
Oh, so the blue and the earring and the white are right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's bad.
Isn't it? $53 for that. For just the palette. It's so stressful to me.
I quite like art. You know, I'm an art appreciator.
Yeah.
What did it say about it? I mean, $53.
See, if they had just done the Girl with the Pearl earring, had it at the like front of the palette, and then used some of the shades from the painting within the palette, that would have been perfect.
Yeah.
Because I'm a like, bring me to a gallery, I'm quite happy. But this was terrible. Absolutely terrible. And then the next thing that he downvoted was another celebrity skincare line, and this was Travis Barker, who launched his celebrity skincare line back in September. It was Barker Wellness, and he had his 2-in-1 face cleanser and mask for $60, a daily moisturizer for $60, renewal balm for $100, eye serum for $90, and face serum for $80. All of the items had some element of CBD and CBG in them. I loved that in his promo photos, he was just carrying around the serums and moisturizers in his mouth like a fucking dog. It was weird.
Who is Travis? I know he's married to Kourtney Kardashian.
That's as much as I know.
Right. Okay.
But he doesn't strike me as a person that's that bothered about skincare.
It's just when I've seen him, I'm like, he looks like he needs a bath.
Yeah, you don't really look at him and kind of go, Travis, you must tell me about your skincare regimen.
$100.
I will say, at least it's a bit more affordable than Brad Pitt.
Who is Travis? He was in a band, I'm sure.
Oh, probably. And like I said, we had more celebrities getting involved in things that they shouldn't have been doing.
Oh.
Yeah, this was the brand Pleasing by Harry Styles, and they announced a collaboration with Marco Ribeiro back in September, and they had this polish set. It included 4 polishes and some decals for €81. They had the Increvel Marom Fosco polish, which was this sort of brownie polish, and that had the polish and some decals for €25. They had a gloss medium, which was probably the most interesting thing, and that's like at a push. That's €31. They had the pressed powder pigment palette. The net weight is 8.6 grams, so you're not getting a lot of product. That was €62, and they had their universal cream pigments, 3 shades, €50, and unsurprisingly, every single item is still available, and it looks absolutely fucking awful. Like, the nail polishes aren't even gel polishes, they're just regular, like, run-of-the-mill polishes, and they, to be fair, you could use them as a sex toy, so I'm assuming.
That palette, though.
Fucking dreadful.
That is one of, honestly, the worst things I've ever seen in my life.
It stresses me out on so many levels, like shades within shades, mismatching shapes, fucked up Irish flag.
I was going to say, you almost at least had an Irish connection there, but not quite.
It's dreadful.
Not quite. I quite like the colours of the cream pigments, but
would you pay €50 for them? No, and that's why 2% of you loved it.
2%.
Yeah, it was dreadful. Celebrities just need to get out.
Even the packaging, it looks like a soap you would find in TK Maxx.
It really does. I wonder will we ever see his stuff in TK Maxx?
It's and that triangle at the top not being nice and square. It's really stressful.
I mean, that's the whole collection. It's just stressful.
You see, if it was like cheap, I would buy it for you as a joke.
No,
and make you do a video. Imagine you had to do an eyeshadow video on that palette.
No, thank you. No, thank you. Never, never, never. Yeah, it was absolutely dreadful. Then the next thing that you guys downvoted was Tom Ford's lip balm, which came out in October. It was the Soleil Neige lip blush, and on their website it says that the moisturizing lip balm applies on clear and instantly transforms in a sultry pink stain and makes the lips look fuller, which makes it sound like one of those pH fucking lip balm bullshit. $58 for a clear fucking lip balm.
Is there not a small part of you that wants to do bad makeup science with this?
No, not even for the I am not spending $58 on a lip balm. I mean, I get enough flack anyway for all of the makeup that has come in and out of this house. Well, in, not out of the house. It never leaves.
Nothing goes out.
No, unless I'm like going somewhere and I'm like,
yeah,
come with me, my precious. But if I turned to Sahil and said, I have spent $58 on a lip balm, he would probably divorce me. And I wouldn't blame him.
I mean, you could buy like 2 weeks worth of cat food for that.
Yeah.
This isn't for us, okay?
Well, that's you're a 2% loved it.
Published author. You're on university, like, this should be for you.
But it's for? Who is it for?
I don't know. I like the packaging. I don't really.
Yeah. 2% of you loved it. So that's where we stand. Then we have Scott Barnes, and they revealed their Voyager collection back in October. You couldn't get the palettes singularly. You had to get them all together. It had the 5 palettes. There was Paris, Italy, London, Dubai, and Australia. Which, by the way, it really confused me that they had cities but then countries as well mixed in there. They were selling those for €215.95. Unsurprisingly, they're still available. They all look the same.
I remember when this came out.
It was dreadful.
Yeah, all the blushes are the same. I don't get it. I mean, they're not, but they are.
I mean, they're going to apply and look very, very fucking similar.
Yeah, 4 of them are. One of them's a bit more pink, I suppose, but
at a push, like. And like even like the shadows, they look cheap. Like the whole layout of it looks like old school Too Faced, you know, when they did their Christmas collections.
Have you seen anyone use this?
No. Nobody's that insane. That there's a reason why it's still available on the website, even though it was like part of their like holiday collection.
But Scott Barnes, he just came out the gate and put his prices like poof up here. And I mean, even Makeup by Mario is more affordable.
It's ridiculous. Like I've seen 1 or 2 things, like say for instance his blushes, and I've kind of thought, oh, that's interesting, but I would never buy them because they're too expensive.
Like if they were like £20 each, a lot of people would buy them. Yeah, because there are some pretty shades and there's nice blushes. 215. No, thank you.
That's why 2% of you loved it. And then the very last thing that was the worst was this collaboration between Winky Lux, which again, surprised they still exist as a brand. And they collaborated with Applebee's, which is an American like diner, whatever you want to call it. And they did this back in July, and they came out with lip glosses that were barbecue scented. So they all smelt like various barbecue sauces. They came in Get Me Hot Buffalo, Sweet Chili Kiss, Be My Honey Pepper, and Honey Barbecue Tea. They were on sale for $18 each, but each of them have sold out individually. But They also had a bundle of all four for $65. Again, they also sold out. I think people were just like, what the fuck is this? And got it maybe as a joke, but it was dreadful. Again, 2% of you loved it.
You ever get in that mood where like you feel quite nauseous and then you smell food and you feel even more nauseous?
Yeah.
Imagine you were in that mood and then you put that lip gloss on.
Oh, that would be the end of the line for me.
Like, that's not good. And they're not even nice colours.
No.
2%.
Yeah. At least I suppose they were $18, so they weren't like the most expensive thing that we've seen, but I'm hoping that we don't get any more weird food-based releases because we had quite a few of them, like 2022. More so in 2021, but I don't want to see any more of them.
But some things, you know, like if it was like a nice pink lip gloss and it was marshmallow cloud scented, you'd be like, oh, that's
Yeah.
nice. But you don't want honey barbecue.
I'll
I
ask
mean,
Sahil, he probably would.
well, obviously he made this.
Yeah. I actually think that maybe Sahil has a double life because a lot of the shit that is down in the lower ranks is sort of things that he'd go, yeah, I like
He's
this.
yeah, he'd be like, yeah, I can see the point in that.
Yeah. But I mean, I think we can all agree there were some pretty bad releases, and I mean, we are tied in terms of like what was the actual worst. It was between Harry Styles and that fucking nonsensical release, Tom Ford and his overpriced lip balm, Scott Barnes and those ridiculous palettes, and that Winky Looks Applebee nonsense. So I want to know, did you guys guess correctly? Did you think that those were the worst things? Are you surprised? Or are there things that you had just blocked out from your memory and now they're seeping back and you're like, oh fuck yes, I forgot those.
Out of those all though, it's definitely the Harry Styles that's the worst.
Oh god, yeah.
I think that's an easy pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, personally.
But that means we've done the worst palettes of 2022. So we get to move on to the best palettes. And we're going to start with, again, like
I'm definitely going to disagree with you on a lot of these.
No, you can't disagree with me because
Okay, it's not you.
Statistics, I didn't vote in these.
It's not you, it's the people. I get it.
People, yeah. So, first thing that we're looking at is the Odin's Eye and Angelica Nyqvist collaboration, which launched in May, and it was their Hella eyeshadow palette. It was $43.90. It was incredibly successful. It sold out and it is no longer available. I loved this. I thought it was such a lovely palette. It reminded me a little bit of the Meet Me in the Underworld, but like a brighter sort of a palette. So it was my kind of thing.
I do not love this, but I know Odin's Eye are 10 out of 10 quality. So, like, I keep seeing this go up for sale in the sausages, and I'm so close to buying it just for the quality.
It's so good. Like, even if you don't like the colour story, everything works really, really well.
Yeah.
I thought it was a really, really great palette. I really genuinely enjoyed it, and I generally kind of trust whatever Angelica comes up with. Like she does good releases. Like I like this was a very, very big one. 69% of you loved it.
Nice.
It was super, super popular, and a lot of you guys like actually commented and said you thought that that would be one of the favorites of the year. Then the next one, and I'm super biased because I fucking love Lois. This is Lois Cosmetics and the Meet Me at Midnight. It was revealed in February and I got to reveal it on my channel. It was all very exciting and I knew about it way in advance, and I somehow managed to it came to me before Christmas and I kept my fucking trap shut. I didn't say a thing, nobody knew what it looked like, and I was very excited. It was £28.99. It's sold out, but it is back in stock again. There's codes, affiliate links, all that sort of thing. 69% of you ended up loving it. I think it was always going to be very hard for Lois Cosmetics to come up with a palette after the Meet Me in the Underworld because that was so successful.
Yeah.
But this is quite different, and I think there are some really lovely shades there, like the kind of pastel-y purple has a lot of bite to it. I was really surprised with the pigmentation on that, and like the sparkly blue is just, it's sexy. Tonight, that is a beautiful, beautiful blue. I liked it. I think, do I like it as much as the Meet Me in the Underworld? No, but I still enjoyed it. And I
She
think
does a very good black eyeshadow. Does Lois Cosmetics.
she does.
Very good black.
Totally agree. Yeah, I thought this was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. And like I said, a lot of you guys seemed to go for it as well. The next thing you guys rated was that Viseart came out with 6 different blush duos, and they were released back in May, initially on sale for $13.22. They're back in stock again now, but they've gone up to their original price of $30, and you can get them on Beauty Bay now for £25 each. I ended up getting, I think, most of them while they were on sale. Yeah, I'm an idiot. I love them. They're beautiful, fabulous quality.
I've never tried anything from Viseart.
Come to Ireland.
Come back to Ireland and touch my stuff.
Makeup. But also boobs, if that is how you feel inclined. Yeah, I thought this was really, really nice. I wish they had kept the price lower like they did initially. But, I mean, I thought this was fabulous and so kind of on the money with what people were actually interested in terms of tones.
That's cheaper than buying 2 Mitchell blushes on Beauty Bay. 2 Mitchell blushes on Beauty Bay would cost you £40.
Yeah. And
Okay.
that's my only option for buying Mitchell because he doesn't ship to Ireland.
£40.
Yeah.
Or Viseart, which is a literal pro brand, for £25.
Yeah. I mean, I know what I'd be choosing.
And I like Mitchell, but anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't like the packaging of his blushes. It stressed me out.
Awful. It's awful.
Like, it was a straight off no just on that alone for me, because I am that superficial, I'm afraid. 69% of you actually ended up loving that. It was a very, very popular one. And I don't think anyone's going to be surprised when they see that Cosmic Brush's Serenity palette also kind of came in the top. Launched back in May. It sold out multiple times. And I think one of the high points of this was not just the fabulous colour story, but the affordability, because it was only €24. And again, 69% of you loved that.
I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, I need to play with that tomorrow. I need to do a video on that again.
Please do.
The quality is insane. I can't actually get over it.
Yeah, I was so impressed with it.
That top shape, even in their swatches. Holy crap. Oh, I think Tia's got a discount code as well with them.
She does. She has a discount code and an affiliate link. So I'll put all of that down below. If for some reason you haven't gotten this already, I highly, highly suggest that you do. It's an excellent palette. Yeah, she has it right there.
I do, but I'm going to put it on my desk so that when I come through tomorrow, I'm like, serenity.
Yes. I'm here for that. I think it was such a fabulous palette. And can I just say, isn't it great to see how many of the indie brands made it into the top?
And this is a UK indie brand for once.
Then the next one that you guys rated highly was the Michaela Nogueira collaboration with Glamlight, and that was back in July. You are particularly interested in the Pat 2, I hate saying that, 30 colour eyeshadow palette, and it is still available now for $42. 69% of you loved it. I know there's been some controversy since, mainly around when she was coming out with this. At the time, it was all about the Roe v. Wade and all of the rights being stripped away, and people kind of thought she was being a bit insensitive by ignoring it. And then she said she would give a chunk of her kind of profits or proceeds from the palette to various organizations, but it seems that has not happened yet.
I don't know. I struggle with that. On the one hand, she's a makeup influencer, and sometimes it's nice to just play with makeup and not think about how shit the world is.
Yeah.
And like, it's not her job to stand up for people. Like, I don't know. But I get both sides of the argument. I really do.
Yeah. It's very difficult to kind of know what to say, but I do kind of think that if you have pledged to do something, you're
100%.
I don't think she had to. I think she just had to acknowledge it, considering people felt a certain way about it. But that's not the point of this. This was a gorgeous looking palette.
Did you buy it?
No, because they don't ship to Ireland.
Oh.
And I have emailed them about it several times, and they've never emailed me back.
I'll email them because they emailed me the other day.
Yeah. They don't listen to me. They're like, we don't care about you. And I'm like, I don't think you realise that I would buy a disgusting amount from you.
I would give you a lot of money.
Yeah. I'll make it worth your while. I thought this palette was really, really beautiful. I love those sort of jewel tones. And I love that there was a black in there. I thought that was really, really smart. 69% of you ended up loving it. So it was very, very popular. And I think a lot of people were doing what we used to do with Jeffree Star and kind of going, quickly, hop on, set your timer. Like people were jumping on to the internet to try and grab this ASAP. So kind of Glamlight have taken Jefferson's crown, I think.
Somewhat, yeah.
Yeah. Then Glamlight again, they did a collaboration with Scooby-Doo, and the one that you guys were really, really interested in was the Creeps and Crawls palette, which was the more blue purple toned one. They came out with another one as well. It was a greeny toned one, but you guys didn't vibe with that. Only about 55% of you loved it. But this palette got 70% love, and it is available for $20. I think the price point was perfect for this. It was affordable. The swatches look nice. I don't love that it's all kind of the one tone. There isn't enough light shades. There isn't enough, like it's all very dark. And I would have liked maybe a little bit more options. But for $20,
I would buy that in a heartbeat because the swatches, my lord. My lord.
I mean, HipDoc could learn a lesson. That's how you swatch things.
It's sick. Those blues in the middle.
Yeah, to be fair, they look absolutely stunning. And for $20, like that's really, really good.
That's not a bad price.
It's a 10 pan eyeshadow palette, so it's averaging out as $2 per eyeshadow. You wouldn't get singles that cheap.
More for your money than the Urban Decay Western one. And better quality.
Oh, miles. Feel bad even putting the two of them in the same sentence, like. But yeah, like Glamlight were really coming for it this year, in my opinion. Then we had Ireland's own Cash Beauty. Hooray! Delighted to see this in here because I feel like Kaylee is a great business person and she seems to be quite a nice person in general. I think what was smart about this was last year the Colour Trip palette did really, really well, and a lot of people really liked the liners that were in that palette, and they worked really fucking well. I was surprised, like genuinely surprised. So what she did was she released liners that were similar to the Colour Trip palette back in June, and you could get them for €14.95, and they came in 6 shades. And she had also previously done these particular brushes with the Colour Trip, and you could only get them in a bundle, but she decided to then sell them individually for like €9.95 each, which I think was really quite a nice move, because if you're like me, you'll usually be like, the one brush that I really, really like,
I
want to have that one, but I don't want to have the rest of them. So I think that was really good for her to do that. 72% of you guys ended up loving it. The liners are really, really good. I love that like bright yellow.
I've got them, I like them, but I definitely reach for my Sheen ones more.
Yeah. To be fair, it's hard to kind of compete against the Sheen.
It is hard. Yeah.
But it's an Irish brand. So I'm fucking delighted. I like seeing that. And I just thought it was really well done. I like that when Cash Beauty comes out with something, it's quite dialed back.
And she doesn't release too much, like, over the year. She does, like, one nice thing. By the way, and her lipsticks are such good quality.
Oh, excellent.
We love them.
Yeah.
Love them.
Yeah, I really rate them. They're so good, because Emily turned me on to those. She was like, you need to get this, and this on my date. And I was like,
Really nice formula.
Yeah, I really like them. Then the next thing that you guys liked was the Clarity Cosmetics Evil Mermaid palette. This released in May. 73% of you guys ended up loving it. It is available for €23.95. So, I mean, this is So pretty. I ended up buying it. I have yet to play with it, but let me know if anyone wants a video or anyone gives a shit.
I like the swatches more than the palette. Like, the swatches sell it to me. But what am I blending out that deep purple with?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a standalone palette. I will
No.
say, because usually their palettes are quite expensive, to get those kind of shimmery formulas from them for €24, I don't think is a bad price. You can't use it by itself. You're gonna have to go in with something else. But it's not bad for like what
It's
it
very pretty. Like that, what's it called? Murky water or something. That's
Yeah,
gorgeous.
yeah.
Stunning.
Do you know who I could really see vibing with this one? Jane. Like
Yeah.
I could see her absolutely loving this. And I just think it's a really nice and interesting sort of a palette. And you guys really went for it, 73% love. So there you go. But Clarity were at it again. And this time 74% of you ended up loving it. And this was their Bloom palette. This was more expensive. It was €45.95 and it launched back in February. Now in that palette you get 5 mattes, 3 foil shadows and 2 duochromes. Now I have this palette and it is very, very pretty. It's tricky to work with as a palette by itself. Like you, in my opinion, need to come in with maybe 1 or 2 of their other palettes to kind of come in. Like I like pairing that with their So Mermazing palette, which has more kind of pastel-y shades in it, but it's beautiful. Like the shades are stunning. I think my one gripe, and I do enjoy Clarity, is that I struggle sometimes to make a look with just one of their eyeshadow palettes.
Yeah.
I normally have to go or think about using something, like I have to really stretch myself to think about how to use it just by itself. But I love the quality. Like I really do, and I love like the way that it blends, etc. But I always feel like their palettes could do with maybe 1 or 2 extra shades and that would complete it.
It is very pretty. The swatches, though, compared to the swatches for their previous palette, those swatches look quite sad. And I bet if I swatched it, I'd make it look better. I just think the way they photographed those shimmers, they don't look nice. They just look like shimmers. If it was like half price, I would try it.
Yeah. I know that she's making the pans smaller so that she can cut down the cost and she can like basically make the palette cheaper and more affordable for people. And I think that's a good idea because like she has massive pans in there as it is.
Yeah.
I think that would like be a good move. So yeah, I personally like the quality of Clarity, but yeah, sometimes I feel like just there's a few shades missing.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I am on it. Then the next thing was the Saints Angels Sinners collaboration with Sminkbury Owenda, who is a Swedish Instagrammer, and she does amazing makeup. Like I love looking at her makeup. And this was released back in April. It was an 18 pan palette for €70.65. It went through 3 pre-orders before it eventually sold out, and it's no longer actually available. There's sort of some issues in the background around this between the owner of Saints Angel Sinners and Smink.
Bit of drama.
Yeah, they no longer work together, but I gotta say this was a beautiful palette. I loved it because I ended up getting it and shut up. Shut up. I loved it. I thought it was gorgeous.
I wouldn't get it.
That's because you're dead inside, Nissa. Dead inside.
It's just like a bigger version of the Bloom that you just showed us, just with more shades, which isn't a bad thing, but.
Well, I will remind you that this is what the public liked. 75%.
That's the public, though. I watch R&R every week, and I often disagree with people.
But to be fair, what green is your least favourite eyeshadow? So
Yeah.
And a lot of these palettes have more green tones in it, so I understand why it's not your kind of thing. It is mine. I'm fucking living for it. A lot of the shit that came out this year was my jam. Like, I enjoyed it. But yeah, it was a beautiful palette, worked really, really well. I enjoyed it. I think it's really sad that it's no longer available. Lots of reasons behind that. But beautiful and worked really, really well. Again, this is the green dominated this year. I'm not against it. This was Ace Beauté and their Tropical Vibes collection that came out in February, and they had their palette and the 4 glimmer shadows on sale right now, by the way, for $52.99. The palette itself is $38.99, and you can get the glimmer shadows bundled together for $16.99 on sale now. And 78% of you guys ended up loving it. It's very pretty.
That is very nice.
Yeah.
But it's grungy greens, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I like that.
Yeah.
I would buy that.
Getting it. I oddly enough didn't end up getting it.
Really?
Surprising.
That is surprising.
Sometimes I like have some amount of restraint.
Really?
And it surprises even me. Yeah. I was like, I have loads of greens. I need to calm the fuck out.
But they're quite unique greens. They're quite special greens.
I know, I loved it, but I didn't go for it. I think partly because you have to buy directly from Ace Beauté and you can't buy anywhere else. And I was like, I have to pay duties and customs and blah, blah, blah. And I just couldn't be bothered with that.
If it was on Beauty Bay, I'd buy it.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think it's such a pity that Beauty Bay no longer stock them. That was fucking stupid.
But now they have Maybelline.
Oh my goodness, and Urban Decay. Such excitement.
Honestly.
Yeah. I think this was really, really well done. And it came out
gorgeous.
when a lot of people were looking for this. Like, it was back in February. I think
I reckon Daniela would do a beautiful grungy look with that.
But to be fair, Daniela would do a beautiful look with anything. So
with the hip dots? With the hip dots?
I feel like she could make it look not awful.
Probably.
Like, the woman is magic. Then the next thing that you guys rated, and this was an 81% love it, this is Clarity Cosmetics. And these were their new blushes that came out in February. There are 19 different shades in total, and they vary from €9.95 to €13.95. You can use my code, by the way, for 5% off. I have quite a few of these. Shut up. Say no.
10 of 10. I'm not even going to mock you, okay? Because these are so beautiful. Like, these were sent from heaven.
Yeah, these are fabulous, and the pigment on them is so good. I think the price on this is also really good.
And I like the packaging.
Yeah,
I think that's great. I remember when you first showed these, I was overjoyed with them.
Yeah, Clarity did really, really well this year.
Yeah,
like they did a lot of stuff that people were really genuinely interested in. I mean, they had really good mixes of like the oranges, the yellows, the pinks, the purples. It was just a really comprehensive blush shade. Like, it was really good.
Imagine that mulberry rose shade on a deep skin.
I think that's part of what a lot of people liked about it was very inclusive. And we were getting that from an indie brand. I mean,
and even that dark orange extra shot, please, that would show up on dark skin.
Yeah, it was fabulous. But that's why 81% loved it.
Yeah, I agree with this one.
That was really, really good. Then we have Menagerie Cosmetics, who back in March came out with their Sugar High Artistry palette. It was $45. It is actually available on their site now, surprisingly, because it's impossible to ever get anything in stock with that particular brand. 81% of you loved it. Now, personally, I like aspects of it, but I wouldn't ever buy it.
No.
Like, I like the packaging. I think it's really cute. I think there's some like nice individual shades, but I wouldn't run out. I think I initially got overly excited and I was like, oh my god, the swatches! Because the shimmers are interesting, but if you go onto their website, by the way, they don't have any swatches of the mattes, which I thought was interesting. They're really banking on people finding those shimmers interesting, and they are nice, but they're not so nice that I'm going to take leave of my senses and buy them.
I'm surprised this made it into this.
It was very popular. Very, very popular. Like 81%.
Probably just because of that one lime green, though.
Yeah.
I think that's selling the palette.
To be fair, I do like that there's like, they always have animals on it. I think that's how they get a lot of us. Because I just look at it and kind of go, oh, there's a kitten on it. Oh, there's a puppy on it. And then I have to go, but would I get this if there was no dog or kitten on this? No.
It's not a terrible palette. It's alright.
No, it's not, but I personally don't think it would.
Wouldn't buy it.
I wouldn't have come into my top 10.
Nope. Wouldn't be in my top 100.
But this is what the people wanted.
It's what the people want. Okay,
And
you're
we
right.
are democratic here. Then we have Cleona Cosmetics, and they came out with their dragon fruit collection, and there were lots of things in it. But the stuff that you guys really, really liked were their fruit lighters. They were sort of duochromy, multi-chrome highlighters, and they were the shades Tropico and Patea, and they retailed for €15.61 each. They are currently sold out. They did a restock, and they were crazy popular. 84% of you ended up loving it, and I know that Anna ended up buying it and she fucking loves it. She's used it on her eyes, she used it as highlighters. She really rates it. I didn't end up getting it. I thought it was nice, but I was like, oh, I can't be bothered.
I feel like Cleona has a really like loyal fan base.
I've bought a lot of stuff from them. I have.
Yeah.
I've maybe like $300 worth of stuff, like just with their stained glass collections. Yeah, I know. I hate myself too, and I judge myself every night. I thought it was nice, but not so nice that I ended up getting it. Like if it turned up, I'd have been happy with it, but I wasn't going to go off and buy it.
That bluey one would look good on Tia.
Oh yeah, she loves a blue-based highlighter.
She loves a blue-based highlighter.
Yeah. But 84%, that was massively, massively popular. But we're on to the very, very last thing, and this is
it?
This is the last thing now that we're coming. And this was the top, the tippity top. I've never seen a stat quite like this, and I don't think that many people will be surprised. This was Beauty Bay, and I feel like they, you know, the phrase "they broke the internet" gets thrown around, but I feel like they actually did, because so many of us like figuratively shat ourselves when we saw that. I know I did. I was like full on like fangirling over on TikTok, going,
I was having palpitations.
yeah, it was amazing. They had the Midnight, the Earthy, and the Berries palette. Now, what I didn't like at the time was that they didn't have a 42-pan berries, just because my brain is like, complete it. But they rectified that a couple of months later, so I'll give them that. But my God, this was sheer perfection. They're currently on sale, so even though they were already like crazy affordable, you can get the 9 pans now for £5.25, the 16 pans for £8.40, and the 42 pan for £16.80. And they have lots of bundling options as well. Honestly, lads, you have no reason not to get them if this is what like you like in a palette. They are stunning. They're so pretty. I bought the Earthy, but I haven't tried it yet, because I know I've been this will indicate how busy I have been over the last couple of months.
I'm a bit upset with you now, actually finding that out.
Yeah. I had a lot of stuff going on. By
Did
the
you
time
buy the big one?
I did, of course I did.
Okay, good.
Does anyone actually give a shit and want to see me do something with it at some point?
You have to use it, come on.
Yeah. Okay, great. I did the Midnight, I used the berries and I loved them. Beauty Bay even sent me the 42 pan berries palette as a PR thing, which honestly...
She got PR!
Yar! With the pirates! Yeah, I'm in no way surprised that this was the top. It's affordable, it's fucking excellent quality. The colour stories are so on trend. Like even now, a couple of months later, these are spectacular. I think for a lot of people, you could just go with these 3 palettes and that would be it. That's all you would need.
Like, none of them have gone out of fashion. These colour stories are so... You know how I feel about Beauty Bay. Like,
honestly,
it upsets me how much I love them.
Oh no, same. Like they are one of my favourite brands.
Yeah.
Genuinely love them. 92% loved it.
92.
That's massive.
That's not a shock though. Not a shock.
Yeah. But guys, that's it. That was the best and the worst of 2022. I know it's a very long video and I probably haven't edited much of this out. But yes, that, my friends, is it. That is the best and the worst that 2022 had to give us in terms of makeup, because, I mean, geographically, politically, this was not the worst thing. Like,
no.
We're talking about like small pickings here.
I don't know though. The hip top stuff It's probably as bad as the cost of living crisis.
I mean, probably. Probably. But I want to know what you guys think. Were you surprised by any of these? Is there anything that you feel should have been included that was excluded? Were there things that, you know, you really feel didn't get their moment in the sunlight, or you feel were a bit overrated? So I'm a nosy bitch, and also the more you interact with the video, the better.
Interact.
Yeah, do please. But my friends, that is it. That is the end of the video. Do please like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on that notification bell for more videos, because there's always a releases and rants every single week. And do please share, because sharing is caring, except of course for STDs, in which case you just gotta wrap it up. Don't be gross. But that's the end of the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Let's hope next year's better.
It won't be.